Alright, welcome back to the Redline Racing League. This is Sunday's Division 3. It's 1 hour from the Nurburgring Grand Prix. Alright, here is your starting grid. On pole in the BMW Z4 on Racing Mediums, it's Captain Dan. Second position sees JCS in another Z4 starting on softs. In third position, it's Stealth Hypes in the Z4 on the Super Softs. In fourth position, we see New Davy in the Subaru WRX, starting on the softs. Fifth position, the first of the Vipers on the softs, it's Jeff Borrow. In sixth position is Jardy Boy, starting on the Super Softs. In seventh position, in a Porsche 911 on the softs, it's Rob Smith. In eighth position, we see RRL Martin in a DBR9 on the Super Softs. His teammate in P9 is John Leo, also on the Super Softs. And rounding out this 10-car field, L. Courteous in an Aston Martin Vantage, starting on the mediums. So at the start, we're going to start with a pulse check. It's preferred to use traction control, as we see, unfortunately, a driver did not, that being JCS, and JCS ends up going around. Later on, about turn 2 and 3, as the squabble for second is on. Some pretty big contact going on between Stealth Hypes and Jardy Boy, as Martin advances from 8th position up to 2nd, only a few turns into this race. That's quite a start. Alright, midway through lap 1, having started on the mediums, there's quite a big difference in terms of the traction between the softs, the super softs, and the medium compound, as we see the BMW Z4 of Captain Dan struggling a little bit with the traction. El Courteous, who had made up a few positions, just almost collects Jeff Borrow. I don't know how Jeff managed to get by, but that was quite an impressive feat. Right, it's the end of lap 1, as we see, check out Rob Smith trying to move up to the 6th position. As the drivers are already starting to spread out a little bit. As I mentioned at the start of the broadcast, there are drivers on different tires. As we see Captain Dan, those racing mediums have not quite warmed up yet. Gets on the right-hand side rumble strip, and unfortunately, that's a common thing that can happen, is the car will spin out. So unfortunately, that happened. All right, here midway through lap 2, as the top 3 have already kind of checked out. Good battle going on for 4th, as Rob Smith is trying to defend the 5th position from Stealth Hypes. So Rob was on the outside at the hairpin. However, he's able to stay side by side to have the inside line for the Schumacher S's, and is able to maintain that 5th position. While these drivers are duking it out, unfortunately Stealth Hypes is going to get a 1-second penalty. Based on the league rules, that penalty will have to be served at the end of the lap. And this early on in the race, it can be pretty easy to lose your patience, being behind another driver. Stealth Hypes tries to go for the move. Rob Smith is already there at the apex, and unfortunately Stealth Hypes ends up sliding into the pit entry wall. As we see, the top 3 drivers have pulled away by a relatively decent margin in the early goings. As it's Subaru versus Aston Martin versus Viper. So you've got New Davy, who qualified back in 4th position, leading the way. Had a Martin, who's already up from 8th position on the grid, and Jardy Boy in 3rd, up from 6th position. we've got the Racing Softs versus the Super Soft and the Super Softs. Alright, so again, the battle for the lead is between a Subaru, an Aston DBR9, and a Viper. So you've got the Subaru, which is a car that's very good at slow turns, which will be rather useful here at the Nurburgring Grand Prix, versus the DBR9 and the Viper, which are cars that have great top-end speed, but tend to struggle a little bit when you're trying to put the power down exiting slow turns. So this should be a very interesting battle as the race progresses. Alright, heading towards turn 1 here on lap 4. As we take a look back from the Aston Martin Vantage of El Courteous back to the BMW Z4 of Stealth Hypes. Now, keeping in mind, Courteous is on the Racing Medium compound versus Stealth Hypes, who's actually on the Super Softs. So this will definitely make for an interesting battle, and we expect Courteous to be a little bit slower at the very start as we take another look at this battle. The BMW Z4s tend to have a little bit better rotation under slow turns, as El Courteous really trying to defend for that position. Alright, looking back at our leaders, so far it's a 3-horse race. At the front, New Davy missing the braking spot just a little bit. The car slides, and that allows Martin, a little bumping included, to get side by side onto the front straight. That DBR9 has the upper hand advantage though with the top end speed to lead the field, but just for a second is New Davy going to look on the inside, going to make the most of the handling WRX to look back. However, Martin is able to take the lead back for a second time. Meanwhile, while these two drivers are duking it out, it's allowing Jardy Boy to stay with them and slowly close the gap. Alright, taking a look at the battle again for 7th position. El Courteous, unfortunately, is going to get a 1-second penalty for cutting the track. Has to serve that penalty at the end of the lap, and does so. Allows Stealth Hypes to take 7th. Alright, end of lap 5. El Courteous, the first of the drivers into the pits. El Courteous starting on the Racing Mediums. So, getting the slowest tire out of the way at the start, switching to the softer compound. That allows JCS to inherit 9th. Remember, JCS started 2nd, spun at the grid start with false check, and is trying to make a comeback. As we see New Davy looking up the inside of Jardy Boy. These three are still duking it out, but they still have a relatively sizable gap back to the rest of the field. Alright, end of lap 7. John Leo unfortunately going to cut the left-hand side of the chicane, issuing him a 3-second penalty, which he'll be serving on the front straightaway as we start lap 8. So that final chicane, you can't really cut on the left-hand side. You can get the car over on the right-hand side. So in the meantime, that's going to allow Rob Smith to inherit the 4th position. Right, lap 8, riding on board with Martin, looking back to the Subaru and the Viper of 2nd and 3rd position. Martin going to run a little bit wide though, and that's going to allow WRX to take the lead. So again, as I mentioned at the start of the broadcast, that WRX is notorious for having good handling under slow turns, and that allows that pass to be made. Martin, on those used super softs, runs a bit wide at turn 1 and allows the Viper of Jardy Boy to reel him in. Jardy Boy going to look up the inside to take the second position. Alright, end of lap 9. Your leaders, New Davy and Jardy, into the pits. And at the same time, the DBR9 of Martin is going to opt to stay out and do another lap. That's also going to allow the Porsche 911 of Rob Smith and the other DBR9 of John Leo, who misses the braking spot heading towards turn 1, ends up in the sand trap, loses out on second spot, and hands third position to the Viper, the other Viper of Jeff Borrow. And exiting the pits, Jardy Boy and New Davy going to come out in 5th and 6th. As we are more than a quarter of the way through this endurance. El Courteous sits in 7th, Stealth Hypes in 8th, Captain Dan in 9th, and already in the early goings we have lost. We have one DNF so far, that being from JCS. So the BMW Z4s, which started 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, unfortunately are having a difficult time here at the Nurburgring Grand Prix. So end of lap 10, your leader Martin into the pits. Following suit from 2nd will be Rob Smith, along with Jeff Borrow and John Leo. And with the cycling of the pit stops, Jardy Boy back into the lead. Onto the medium compounds. So that's an interesting strategy. Starting on the super softs, onto the mediums for the leader. It's a really good battle going on. New Davy on the fresh softs versus El Courteous, who started on the mediums, is now on the super soft compound. As we go down the list, Martin, Jeff Borrow, John Leo, Stealth Hypes, and Captain Dan rounding out the field. Alright, end of lap 11. Jardy Boy opting to stay out on the mediums for another lap. Rob Smith, though, going to come into the pits right away, so just one lap for the Porsche 911 on the medium compounds, and back onto the softer compound. That's actually going to allow the Aston Martin Vantage of El Courteous to inherit 2nd. As we take a look at the field, this awesome angle of turn 1. As we notice, John Leo ends up, I think John Leo hit a cone. Check this out. Hoppity hop. Yeah, that surely was hitting one of the cones for sure. Alright, while the battle for 5th wages on, Stealth Hypes unfortunately going to get a 1 second shortcut penalty. And that will allow Rob Smith to challenge for the 7th spot. End of lap 12, Jardy Boy going to go ahead and take off the mediums onto the soft compound. That will allow El Courteous, who started back in 10th, who started on the racing mediums, to inherit first. New Davy and Martin will follow suit into second and third spot. Jardy Boy going to exit the pits in fourth. Alright, end of lap 14. The leader, El Courteous, into the pits. Racing mediums, check. Racing super softs, check. It'll be on to the softs. And that will allow the top three, before the pit cycles happened, to get back into those positions. So New Davy leading from Martin, Jardy Boy in third, John Leo gonna inherit fourth, ahead of Rob Smith in fifth, and El Courteous will exit the pits in sixth, just ahead of the BMW Z4 of Stealth Hypes. As we see a really good battle going on for eighth between the Viper of Jeff Borrow and Captain Dan. Alright, checking out Rob Smith, who's going to unfortunately go a little bit wide in the Schumacher S's. Gathers it up, however, gets into the sand trap, and now those super soft tires are going to be rather dirty, so huge loss of traction getting back onto the track. And that's going to be quite a battle, once again, with Stealth Pipes for that sixth position. Alright, taking a look at Aston versus Aston, DBR9 versus Vantage, the battle for fourth. El Courteous is going to go from the outside to a lunge on the inside. At this point I'm wondering, where'd John Leo go? John Leo tries to get the cut back. However, unfortunately, instead of the game issuing a penalty, resets his car on the track. And Stealth Hypes gets a little bit wide and ends up spinning out. Stealth Hypes on the medium compound. Alright, end of lap 19. Martin into the pits as New Davy continues to lead the way. Jardy Boy in second. And Martin going to come out of the pits in third on the medium compounds. El Courteous in fourth, ahead of John Leo in fifth. Rob Smith goes on to sixth. Alright, end of lap 20. The leader, New Davy, making the pit stop. Still a very close battle between the top 7 drivers. Jardy Boy going to take over the lead to start lap 21. We'll see where the drivers that came into pit are going to be in regards to that second spot. So El Courteous into second. New Davy exiting in third. Getting a little bit squirrely at the exit of turn 1. That's going to be a close battle with Rob Smith. Jeff Borrow in 5th. Martin in 6th. Just ahead of the other DBR9 of John Leo. And just a little bit further back is the twin BMW Z4s, occupying 8th and 9th. End of lap 21, Jardy Boy into the pits. Courteous has a 1 second penalty though, and that penalty is going to be served here on the front straight. Once again, the Aston Martin Vantage, who started back in 10th, inherits the lead. New Davy into second, Jardy Boy exiting in third. So the Viper's having a pretty good race, sitting in third and fourth. And the DBR9 Astons doing a nice job, sitting in fifth and seventh. Good battle for that second spot. So end of lap 22, see the other Viper, Jeff Borrow, into the pits. Courteous with about a 7-second gap as these two wage war for second. But a 5-second gap back to fourth, and then a few seconds back to fifth. Alright, here we are on lap 23 as the battle continues on, riding on board with New Davy, looking back at the Viper. Will the Viper take a look? Just a slight bump as El Courteous, the leader, into the pits with just under 14 minutes to go. What should be the final pit stop. So in the meantime, that is the battle for the lead. After almost 47 minutes, it's just a few tenths. These two are really going at it. Really good race all race long. Here in lap 24, Stealth Hypes into the pits for what will be a final pit stop, along with Captain Dan. So BMW Z4 is having a pretty difficult race, but unfortunately there are certain cars that are better off for certain tracks that we have here on this Division 3 calendar of the Redline Racing League. Taking a look at this battle, El Courteous getting a little overly aggressive with New Davy forcing the way through to take second. As New Davy gets a half a second shortcut penalty. New Davy is on the racing medium compound, however. Racing Courteous, who El Courteous, who started on the mediums, is on the softer compound, so faster tires. So I'm sure the stewards will be looking at this incident as El Courteous actually punts Jardy Boy into turn 1. We only have maybe 2 laps to go or so. So riding on board with El Courteous, taking a look at the 100-meter board. Brakes well beyond that. pushes Jardy Boy straight off. Jardy Boy ends up getting reset. However, some decent sportsmanship here by the Aston Martin driver, who actually will slow down to hand the position back. So just waiting for the right opportunity to do so. So Jardy Boy will take the lead back again. Alright, later on, so starting lap 30, Jardy Boy runs a little bit wide. El Courteous had the opportunity to be able to make that pass cleanly, doesn't do so. So these two are definitely going at it. Jardy Boy, a little retaliation going on there. And El Courteous ends up spinning Jardy Boy in the process. So some pretty unsportsmanship conduct going on for the lead. And this is just allowing New Davy, who was on the medium compounds, to close in. So, really surprised that El Courteous did not receive a penalty for that. And Jardy Boy ends up dropping to 5th position, having been battling for the lead all race long. Stealth Hypes, off to the side, parked it. So we're on lap 30, and it appears that the timer is going to run out. So this should be the final lap. New Davy, who's had a really good race all along, sitting in 2nd. Rob Smith, who started back in 7th, is sitting in 3rd. Martin, who started back in 8th, in 4th. Jardy Boy in 5th. John Leo in 6th, Jeff Burrow 7th, Captain Dan in 8th. So running the last few turns, as we take a look at New Davy, who ran a really great race. As of right now, it's going to list that El Courteous is the winner. New Davy crosses the line, ahead of Rob Smith. Martin to take 4th place, Jardy Boy in 5th, John Leo in 6th, Jeff Burrow in 7th, Captain Dan in 8th, and rounding out your field today will be Stealth Hypes after the DNF of JCS. As always, I thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!